Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Davo from Esports, bringing you another 1v1 StarCraft 2 cast today. Awesome! This time on Core Hull Compound, this time a ZVP. Excellent. I will just quickly tell you guys, this is an amateur game. It is in the Gold Leagues, or at least it is from the Gold Leagues, from the American servers. Excellent. The submitter of our game, who by the way posted it to Cast It off the Reddit, Cast It is a subreddit, is our Blue Protoss, who is in the bottom left hand corner, and his name is Jiang, and I believe it is Senior Jiang on Reddit. And as I say, he is the uploader of the game, and he is also taking a nice and early expansion, which Protoss players are known to do against Zerg opponents quite a lot of the time anyway. And then in the top right-hand corner, we have Misplaced, who is our red Zerg. Of course, he might not literally be misplaced. His name is just Misplaced. That is absolutely fine. Just wanted to clear that up even for any future difficulties we may face in this cast, as in jolly old England at the moment it is 3 in the morning. Excellent. I don't think I've slept for about 30 hours, but hey, you know what, that's absolutely fine. We can watch some StarCraft and we can comment on it and have lots and lots of fun just like that. Now we do have two scouts coming out here from Misplaced, a Overlord, which unfortunately just got overtaken very, very quickly by that drone. But the drone is actually going to see the fact that this fast expand is going down. It probably won't come as that much of a shock to our Zerg player, as it does happen quite a lot to them, where they do begin to see their opponent expand very, very early on, if their opponent is Protoss. That was a very, very elaborate way of saying something quite simple. Sorry, guys. And we do have the spawning pool on the way right now. It's about halfway finished. I'd say it's a pretty standard timing for a spawning pool. A nice and safe timing. Misplaced wanting to put down his hatchery here. Jiang managing to block the hatchery for a little bit, but I'm not sure that will be any disruptive amount of time. But you know what? It was worth a try. This poor probe here is absolutely running for his life. Doesn't want to get poked again by this drone and his little boxing gloves. But hey, you know what? That might happen. Ooh, nope. It did not happen. Okay, cool. Good stuff. So back here from Jiang, we do have his expansion going down. A nice Nexus going straight down now. And it's fairly common to see Protoss and Zerg players expanding at pretty similar time to each other in this matchup at the moment. We will probably see Misplaced also taking another expansion fairly soon, as something that I've found that basically, if you're a Protoss and you block in this early, Zerg players do seem to realise that you hand map control over to them a little bit, and they take their thirds quite quickly, or at least reasonably quickly. Zerg players, of course, are perfectly entitled to take their thirds as fast as they like, because they are playing Zerg, and that is the playstyle of Zerg. Get a lot quickly. Basically, that is the idea, and that is why Jiang has built a photon cannon and a zealot, or a zealot, which it is actually meant to be known. And okie dokie, this is all looking pretty fine right now. The zealot is actually going to be going up to the Zelnaga tower as well to have a look around the place. Right, he's going to see absolutely nothing, unfortunately for him. It's like those little Zelnaga towers on cliffs, alright, are like the little pay-per-view telescopes that you get by the seaside or the beach. I don't know if you guys actually know what I'm talking about. If you don't, I'm sorry. If you do, we can marvel at the comparison. That's right, so that zealot has gone in, he's gone over, he's put his couple of quid into that pay-per-view telescope, and he's looking around the place, and unfortunately all he can see is concrete. But you know what? If he'd paid a little bit more, maybe he would have seen like a truck full of Vespane geysers. Geysers? Oh my goodness, I'm so tired. Full of Vespane barrels. Awesome. Cool. Another little side note, you may notice if you're one of my subscribers that this is actually the first cast I've done in a reasonably long time, or at least a long time for me. It's been about 6 days. Unfortunately, this stalker almost let the drone get away, and it does look like the drone won't get away, unfortunately for it. It's just destroyed, gone into a little pile of red goo, also known as Blood. We do have some Zerglings coming across the map, perhaps going to avenge their fallen comrade, but I doubt it because there is a photon cannon in the way, and that will disrupt 2 Zerglings' plans, unfortunately. But something that will also disrupt the 2 Zerglings' plans is this Zealot, and it doesn't look like these Zerglings will die a pretty horrendous death to the Zealot. Anyway, back to my point I was making. This is my first cast in a reasonably long time. My setup for some reason has changed since I haven't been casting due to university work that I have been doing, and therefore it has taken me about 40 minutes to set up this cast today. That's why it's 3 in the morning. But hey, you know what? I am absolutely 100% dedicated to this, and I want to make this a good cast and get it really, really good, and promote actually these 2 players, because it's always nice to be in Gold League and actually get promoted on YouTube or whatever, and see your game actually casted, because I personally don't think there's a lot of exposure for lower league players. Some of their plays are actually pretty good, and it is fun to watch. It's just as fun to watch in many regards as Masters League players and Grandmasters League players. So, I mean, you know, I don't see why more people don't cast. I wouldn't say, like, you know, why they don't cast amateur games. Okay? That's what I'm trying to say here. That's what I'm trying to say. Anyway, what else I could say is Jiang has a nice selection of Stalkers coming out, and if we look in the production tab right now, which I've just bought up after its holiday away in the recesses of my brain, which I completely forgot about, we have an Immortal on the field now. Excellent. And we also have a Robotics Bay on the way, which of course will allow Jiang to get the Observer Speed upgrade. No, of course it will allow him to get a Colossus as well. But I thought that joke may have made someone in a dark corner of the world laugh somewhere, so I thought I would try it. Perhaps I'm not successful. Oh well. Jiang getting an Immortal out and some Stalkers as well, but his opponent doesn't actually have a Roach Warren. He just actually has quite a lot of Zerglings. Immortals are very, very good against Roaches. Immortals aren't so good against Zerglings. Basically, the kind of light, high DPS units, Immortals do kind of suffer against a little bit. They do far better against the heavier units, which do more chunkier DPS. They do lots more DPS in one hit, because obviously Immortals do have the special shield, which is the hardened shield reduces incoming damage to a maximum of 10, while the Immortal still has shields. So Immortals, of course, they're brilliant against units such as siege tanks, Thors, whatever you like. As long as it hits hard, the Immortal can withstand it pretty well. We do have weapons +2 for Jiang right now. And by the way, he is the uploader of the video. I think I've said that before, but I just want to make the quick point that I might not be saying his name properly, and if I'm not, I'm really, really sorry, but that's the way it reads to me. Which is Jiang, by the way. So we do have the Colossus on the way for Jiang right now, and it does look like perhaps he'll be heading out in a little while. We also have High Templar on the way, or at least we have a Templar Archive on the way. I'd hope that High Templar is on the way, and that is really the combination that Protoss do like to kill light biological units. It is the Colossus, so they have the ranged advantage, and then the High Templar, so they have a big AoE advantage. Against Zerg, it works very nicely indeed, because of course Zerg units are by and large biological. When I say by and large, I mean all of them are biological, and quite a lot of them are light, as you can see just underneath the weapons and armor display just there. So that's very, very important to keep an eye on. We have quite a lot of Zerglings coming down here into where Jiang's 4th base will probably land later on in the game, but that is down to dispute right now. It does look like Jiang has actually attempted to block in, but unfortunately hasn't blocked in quite enough, and we will get quite a response from the Immortals, Stalkers, and so on. Coming down now, trying to deal with these Zerglings, which there are quite a lot of, and the Zerglings just running away back straight to the base, doing a reasonable amount of damage, costing Jiang some money in cancelling the gateways and destroying a pylon as well. So I'd say that attack from Misplaced was actually, you know, it was fairly worthwhile. He probably cost Jiang about 200 minerals, give or take. So, not the least effective attack ever, but, you know, not the best. It wasn't perhaps the most worthwhile thing that could have been done. He was apparently trying to do a little bit of scouting there, but unfortunately that was cut a little bit short by that photon cannon, who has now won himself 1 kill. Awesome. Meanwhile, we have weapons and armor +2 on the way for our Zerg player, which will aid him very, very, very nicely indeed against Jiang's army, or at least the Stalkers in Jiang's army. The Zerglings will suffer greatly against these High Templar. I mean, Misplaced, when he saw this Colossus and High Templar mix, maybe should have thrown down a Roach Warren or thought about transitioning into something else. I like the idea of Hydralisks, but they are still light biological, and Colossus especially absolutely exceed frying Hydralisks. So, I mean, I'm not entirely sure about this composition choice from Misplaced right now, but again, it's not the units, it's how you use them. Or at least that's the idea. I do know that macro comes over micro quite a lot of the time, which for a strategy game, I wouldn't call it sad, because StarCraft is a very, very organisational game. Very, very fun to play, but it does look like maybe this gateway will get taken out. Nope, not being able to snipe that gateway. But again, another fairly successful run by from the Zerglings here into Jiang's base. And running straight back into the Zerg side of the map, which, by the way, on the mini-map is looking nice and pretty with quite a lot of purple all over the place. These Hydralisks kind of chilling here with their big scythe hands, waiting for the next kill. Awesome. In the meantime, we do have Infestors on the way, and by the way, this is quite a lot of Infestors, and they will have to be... I thought that was a hatchery on the map for a second there, but it wasn't. It was just a big group of Zerglings. They will have to be kind of careful about the High Templar and their feedback effect that they can do, which can instantly kill a Infestor if the Infestor has enough energy. And of course that can be kind of damaging to a Zerg's army if you were to lose all of your Infestors. It does look like Yang's going to be going out for a bit of a move out here, and maybe Misplaced going for a run-by, but it doesn't actually look like the run-by is going to be happening. It does in fact... No, it does look like the run-by might be happening, or is he just going to go in and kill quite a lot of stuff? No, because Yang's army is going to come back in time and kill all of the Zerglings. Bar that very, very lucky Zergling, who doesn't even have a kill. Oh dear. So Misplaced there, basically losing quite a lot of Zerglings very, very quickly indeed because of his positioning. He was running along the side of Colossus, so... the Colossus's line of damage AoE was able to fry quite a lot of Zerglings very, very quickly. Misplaced does actually want to be taking an expansion sometime soon as well, because Zerg players do like to have an expansion over their opponent, but today it doesn't actually look like that is happening. Instead, we have a hive on the way, so we might see the higher tier units unless the game ends before then, like Ultralisks and perhaps maybe even some Broodlords. We do have weapons +3, just about halfway done now for Jiang, and of course that will aid his advance pretty greatly into enemy territory, and it will be interesting to see if he will actually push when those come up. And these Colossus are actually slightly out of place. Ooh, and 2 of them getting sniped. I like the Psystorm going down on the Corruptors there, because again, the Corruptors will die fairly quickly to Psystorm, but that was a fairly nice fungal growth as well, locking down Yang's army. These Stalkers right now are actually going to be pretty vulnerable to the Zergling attack, which has just come in, but luckily the Zealots and the High Templars, for that matter, have arrived just in time. And another good thing, another really, really handy thing actually about High Templar is they don't do that much damage against Protoss units, so you can, within reason, be fairly inaccurate. Yang could throw down some force fields here and really, really delay the reinforcements from his opponent coming from the base, but unfortunately he hasn't chosen to do that today. A nice feedback going down on that Infestor, and quite a lot of Infestor Marines coming out now from Misplaced. And Infestor Marines can be a bastard because they can absolutely restrict the way that your army can go around. As we can see, the Infestor Marines have actually jumped all the way around and were blocking Yang's units into this little part here. Quite a lot of Zerglings coming and attacking these Stalkers and Immortals right now, and it does look like this will actually get cleared up. pretty quickly by those Zerglings, who have pretty much chewed through these Stalkers, unfortunately for them. But not a completely terrible attack from Jiang. I mean, his positioning was pretty unfortunate. Even if he had force fielded this ramp behind him to stop the reinforcements, it wouldn't have helped him that much, because of the way Infestors actually spit the Infested Marines over things, which can be a massive, massive pain indeed. It does look like Jiang is actually just going to be looking forward to re-macroing up this mineral patch, and he is actually doing his 4th expansion right now as well. Okay, cool beans. Right, we have Jiang with his 4th expansion just finished now, doing a nice transfer of probes, going straight into that 4th expansion. And funny, he is actually kind of a base up, or 2 bases up I suppose, on his Zerg opponent at the moment. If you're a Zerg, that is not where you want to be. You do not want a Protoss player 2 bases up on you. For macro, that is a very, very bad thing indeed. And we do have Jiang just finishing off his 3rd armor upgrade of the game, his 3rd and final armor upgrade of the game. Quite a lot of burrowed infestors here, which can do quite a lot of damage, and they can also, of course, spit the infested marines straight out, even though they are burrowed. A rather large run-by does look like it'll be happening here from Misplaced, and he will be attacking quite a lot of these gateways. Jiang warping in quite a lot of Zealots to try and stop this from happening, but it does look like these Zealots will get overwhelmed pretty quickly. But the Zerglings will get fairly overwhelmed by the Archons here, as Archons are extremely good. Very, very good indeed. And again, Misplaced losing quite a lot of Zealots. Misplaced losing quite a lot of Zerglings. Dear oh dear, time of the morning. Not good times. And of course we have Jiang building more Colossus, getting them all ready for combat and all of that good stuff. And we also have a fleet beacon on the way, or as my twos partner and I refer to it as a fleet bacon, because everything is better with bacon on the way. So we might actually see some mothership play, we might see some carrier play, who knows at this point in time. Be very interesting to see. I hope it's a little bit of carrier play, because the carrier is still rumoured to be being removed from StarCraft 2 in Heart of the Swarm, upsettingly, because I did play a little bit of Brood War, and the carrier was, quite frankly, my favourite unit. So I'll be kind of upset if the carrier does get removed from the game, to say the least. So I implore people to get carriers, basically. In fact, I'm more inclined to cast games if I hear they've got carriers in them. But I try to limit how much of games, how much I know about games before I cast them, because it makes it more fun for me to cast, and it makes it, quite frankly, I think probably more fun for other people to watch. Or at least that's the idea. So we do have a very, very large, in fact, a capped army coming out now from Jiang. He is 200 out of 200, which of course is the cap of StarCraft 2. His Zerg opponent, bizarrely, isn't capped for a Zerg player. And of course, both players have a fairly large trust fund. Don't worry, Jiang is absolutely allowed to have that trust fund. He is capped. All he has to spend it on now is upgrades, and you can only upgrade your shields one at a time. Perhaps some Psystorms wouldn't go too far. Oh no, and we do have a Neural Parasite going down on the Colossus right now, and that can be a pain in the arse, but a feedback going down on those Infestors, and boom, quite a lot of Infestors dying, an aggressive blink into the Infestors, but who can blame Jiang when it's Infestor versus Stalkers, and all the Infestors are running away. This is the smartest thing you can do at the moment from Jiang, is just move away, just let your opponent waste a whole load of energy on those infested Terrans. Just let them waste their energy away and just run away. It's quite simple really, because that way next time you push, the Infestors won't have as much energy or time or anything on their hands. It does look like we're going to have another push with this really, really powerful looking Protoss ball, or at least I hope we have another push from it, because that would be freaking awesome. Speaking earlier of the movement speed upgrade, I don't know if I made that joke earlier or if that was in my first attempt of this cast, which, by the way, I did the first 5 minutes of. But he is actually getting the Gravtic boosters now from the robotics bay for the Observer, which of course actually makes the Observer shockingly a little bit more useful. These Hydralisks might find themselves a little bit out of position if they don't do something, but you know what? There's quite a lot of Broodlords on the field. I know that Yang's Stalkers do have Blink, but all the same, this could end up to be a pretty sticky situation for Yang right now, as there are a lot of Broodlords on the field, and Broodlords are very, very good at killing stuff pretty quickly. Surge Storm's going down on top of the Broodlords, but I'm not sure it'll be quite enough at this point in time. Yang really needs to get some anti-air under them very, very quickly. Running his army away now, not a bad choice at all. Unfortunately, Broodlords have a lot of range on them, and they actually spawn an additional unit which does damage when it makes contact for the first time with an enemy unit in the first place, which makes them pretty deadly indeed. That Zealot there just escaping with his soul or his life. It really usually confuses me actually what it is Zealots actually have in terms of life, because I do know that when they die they go back to Ire, so they can fight again one day. So, I mean, what do they have? They're essentially ghosts. It's pretty strange. Oh, wait. No. Yes. No. No. Immortals are Dragoons from Brood War. That's the one. Okay, so anyway, we do have quite a lot of Broodlings coming down here. And they do look like... The Broodlords here do actually look like they'll be essentially eradicating Yang's 4th base. Broodlords do a hell of a lot of DPS, and this could be a pretty sticky situation indeed. We have the Mothership on the way, which will help Yang by letting him cloak his units quite a lot. Boom! Down goes the Nexus. Very, very nice play indeed from Misplaced, putting quite a lot of pressure on his opponent. Unfortunately for Yang, there's, I believe, not really much he can do against this Broodlord ball at the moment. He has a lot of Archons, but the Archons might struggle in actually getting to the Broodlords, as the Broodlords will chuck out the Broodlings and form a little barrier of Broodlings in front of their enemies. But you know what could happen? What could happen would be an Archon toilet, which is essentially where we have a vortex going down from the Mothership, which sucks in lots and lots of enemy units. You send all of your Archons in. When the enemy units come out, they'll all be stacked on top of each other, and then boom, the Archons zap all at once and kill everything. Like everything, but that is yet to be seen all the same. Misplaced doing all he can to try and kill this Mothership at the moment with as many infested Marines as he can muster. But there's quite a lot of Broodlords doing their thing here. And if Yang's not careful, he might actually lose his 3rd base, which would not be a good thing at all. And this is actually turning out to be very, very epic indeed. Let me just get rid of this. We have the Mothership coming up from behind, and are we going to see an Archon toilet now? Are we going to see it? Just put it right there, probably. Yeesh. Perhaps. And there it is, and it doesn't look like these Archons are actually going to have to get in there somehow, even though it's right up on a ledge. Yang throwing all of his units straight into there, and it does look like there is peace on the battlefield for now, but when it comes out, we're going to have a hell of a lot of blood on our hands, and boom! Down go all of those Broodlords instantaneously with that Archon toilet. Absolutely sick play there from Jiang. Really nice. He must have worried a little bit there, because I can't say that he would have been sure where to actually take his Archons, whether to take them down onto the low ground and put them up here, and now he is going, quite rightly by the way, on a more or less an all-out offensive against his opponent, who is doing, well, who is re-macroing as fast as possible, it would seem. Quite a lot of Corruptors on the map right now, but I don't think Misplaced actually has enough energy to really make them into Broodlords, and it does look like Yang will take this game. And it's been a fairly epic game. The Corruptor's taking out the Mothership pretty quickly, but that's no problem. It has done its job. The Mothership does not actually need to exist too badly anymore. After that disastrous Archon toilet for Misplaced, it does look like Yang will take this game in a fairly comfortable manner. However, there is a fairly large run by, which does look like it might happen in Yang's base right now, but I'm not entirely sure there's a whole lot of point, as, well, quite frankly, Zerglings aren't very good against Colossus, and seeing as there's some on the field now, it doesn't look like good times. Even though Yang is losing quite a lot of stuff, we have a lot of zealots on the way now for Yang, which will almost definitely clear up these Zerglings. Yep, they will clear up the Zerglings in a reasonable fashion, or they won't, because they'll get absolutely swamped by the Zerglings. It didn't help that they didn't quite get in there straight away and do all of their attacking straight away. Meanwhile, we have Yang pretty much clearing out his opponent's base rather quickly. We have the token Void Ray, which is in there. And it does look like Misplaced is challenging Yang to a base race, even though at this point in time it definitely looks like Yang has won the game, because if he needs to, he can just warp in many more zealots, warp in some pylons perhaps, or transfer. Yeah, exactly. He's warping in some pylons here. In fact, I'd probably alt tab and uninstall StarCraft if Yang loses to a base race at this point in time. But hey, you never know what. That might happen, and then you'll never hear from me again, unfortunately for you. I hope, anyway, it's going to be unfortunate for you if that happens. I can't expect that to happen at the moment, seeing as Yang does have 4,000 minerals. And he can just warp in quite a lot of zealots. The only problem is he doesn't actually have enough supply to deal with it all properly. But nonetheless, Yang does look like he's going to win this base race just straight up now. His opponent will be revealed, but there is a geyser on the far left hand side of the map which he will have to take out pretty quickly. Misplaced hasn't rebuilt his base and is indeed being revealed. This is actually going to be really close. Perhaps. This could end up being extremely close. And just in time, Yang saves me from having to uninstall StarCraft by building another Nexus. Thank God for him, because I did not want to uninstall StarCraft. That would have been pretty tragic. It's not often I say things like that, but there you go. We do have quite a lot of Zerglings here who will be running around not knowing what to do, and that is the end of the game. Unfortunately, no GGs given from either player. As the game did just end as that geyser got killed on the far left hand side of the map, and we do have another Nexus here just building from Yang, making sure that he doesn't lose to any more run by nonsense that was happening. These zealots just standing about kind of having a tea party, and that is absolutely fine for them. Cool, and that is about that. It's very uncommon that I actually see a game come down to a point where basically neither player have any buildings, and that is just how epic this game has been. Thank you very much to Yang for actually uploading this, or at least not uploading it. I mean, yeah, actually I think you must have uploaded it somewhere. But anyway, thank you very much to Yang for putting this on Cast It, which is, by the way, a subreddit on Reddit for me to cast, or for anyone to cast for that matter. And thank you very much for watching, guys, and I will hopefully see you guys next time. I'm very busy at the moment, so the amount of casting I can do is minimal, but you know, in about 3 weeks time I'm going to be hitting it really hard, doing about 3 to 4 casts a day, and soon that will become something that I will actually have to focus on for university, so you will be hearing a lot more from me in varying degrees. Anyway, guys, thank you very much. Have a nice day. Enjoy playing StarCraft, and I'll see you guys next time. Cheers. Bye-bye.